Hey guys, Will here. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of the hairier parts of the Prismata engine, the undo system. So in applications like, say, Microsoft Word, you can type a bunch of characters and then undo, press Ctrl-Z a bunch of times to undo what you typed in the reverse order that you typed them in. In Prismata, we take this a step further. In Prismata, you can perform a bunch of actions, and you can undo them commutatively, which means undoing out of order. So let me show you an example. Drone is a unit here that can be clicked to produce a gold. Now, you might not want to click it because it blocks, defends if you don't click it. But in Prismata, I can always start my turn by clicking on my drones first. And let's say I use the gold they produced to purchase a blast forge, which costs 5 gold. Now, I decide that I want to leave one of my drones back on defense. I don't need to press Ctrl-Z and undo the blast forge to undo my drones. I can just click a drone and simply 1 gold will disappear from my bank and my drone is suddenly blocking. Now, of course, we got to be a bit careful. I can't just let myself undo all my drones because I need to make sure that since the blast forge costs 5, I need to make sure that I always end the turn with 5 drones that have worked. But I can click the blast forge to essentially sell the blast forge back, get my 5 gold back, which would allow me to undo all my drones. So this sounds easy enough. For this type of special commutative undo in Prismata, all we need to do before allowing you to undo anything is to check that the resources that it produced are still there. Let me show you a trickier example. In this situation, Override Core is a machine that can convert 1 attack power into 2 gold. Inverse Core converts 1 gold into 1 attack power. So between the 2 cores, I can actually make a profit because Override Core gives me 2 gold for the attack power, and then Inverse Core only requires 1 gold to produce back the same attack power. Now, the only issue is to get this cycle started, I need to start with 1 attack power or 1 gold. So I have this unit here, Pixie. It's like a grenade, and you can sacrifice it to produce 1 attack power for a turn. So to start the cycle, I can click the Pixie, and then use that attack power to produce 2 gold with the Override Core. And then the Inverse Core will use 1 of the 2 gold that I produced to make back the attack power. And what's this trick here is I can actually now undo my Pixie. I can undo the sacrificing of my Pixie. The Pixie comes back to life. I no longer have the attack power, but I've got this 1 gold stored in my bank now. That's the profit from using these 2 cores. So, oh yeah, by the way, you can't click a unit more than once per turn in Prismata, which is why I can't just do this indefinitely to produce infinite gold. But I can do this repeatedly over the course of many turns to generate as much gold as I want. Now, what's wrong with this? This is actually what we call an illegal game state that's only attainable via undos. Because it would have been impossible to end up in a state where the Pixie is still alive, hasn't been used, yet I've somehow been able to activate my positive engine and produce a net profit of 1 gold. So, what's bad about this? We actually discussed this a bit. You know, maybe we just want this to be part of the game, and we want tricks like this to be part of the game, but we decided we didn't really want this to be a legal game state. So how do we avoid this? And this actually makes a difference in this specific game, in this specific situation. My opponent has a wall. If I'm not allowed to undo, it's impossible for me to ever break through the wall because I could only ever produce 1 attack power and 1 gold, and it requires 3 attack power to destroy the wall, and with the 1 gold I can never produce the remaining attack power required to destroy the wall. However, if I'm allowed to do this undo trick, I can do this every single turn and then make as much gold as I want, and then eventually build enough attackers to destroy the wall. But in reality, this situation should be a draw if the undo didn't allow you to undo the Pixie. So what's the problem here? It's essentially we have a notion of requirements. You know, if you have Override Core and Inverse Core, it essentially says if you got both of these, you can click them both to make a profit of 1 gold as long as you had a way of starting the cycle. And what we've essentially done is we've clicked the Pixie to say, okay, look, now we got 1 attack power. We can start the cycle. The cycle requires 1 attack power. We've done it, made a profit of 1 gold. And then we're sort of cheating by clicking the Pixie again to undo the making of that 1 attack power. So how do we avoid this situation in Prismata? What we've done is we've made an ordering on our resources and attack power such that if I can convert A into B, then I can never convert B into something else, into something else, into something else in a way that I ever get A back. So basically the graph has no cycles. There's a lexicographic order on all our resources to ensure that these illegal undo situations don't happen. Now, here's something else to blow your mind. Suppose instead inverse core required 2 gold to produce an attack. So I've still got a cycle here, but it's no longer a positive cycle, it's a neutral cycle. Can we allow neutral or even negative cycles in Prismata, because you can never make a profit by exploiting them? So in this situation, I could still click the pixie to activate my engine, click the override core, click the inverse core, and then unclick the pixie. But I actually didn't really have any gain from this. I've got 0 gold in my bank because this was a neutral cycle. Should we allow this? So in the future, we could consider this. Currently, there's no neutral or negative cycles in Prismata. The mathematician in me kinda doesn't like this because, in theory, I've still reached an illegal game state. Even though it's a strictly negative illegal game state, I should never be able to have a state where my inverse core and override core have both been used, yet the pixie was never sacrificed. So hopefully this gives you some insight into the intricacies of the Prismata engine. In my opinion, the undo system is sort of one of the best things about Prismata. It's really what makes the game so fluid, so playable, especially under blitz time controls. You can very quickly change your mind and execute it. And yeah, so let me show you some examples of other undo features. So we actually have an additional layer of undos. So I can click a drone. I can click a drone again to undo it, but I can actually now press Ctrl-Z to undo the undoing of my drone, essentially. So there's an added layer built on top of the normal undos where I can essentially play my turn, and then I can Ctrl-Z a bunch of times to go back to the start, and even seeing what I undid, I can Ctrl-Y again to redo all the moves in the same way. And if I don't like the end of my turn, I can always revert Ctrl-X to go back to the start of my turn. I can play it again, and so let's say I play a different line, and okay, if I don't like this, you can actually undo and revert. So the reverts actually go on the undo stack. So I can actually undo the revert and go back to the same ending situation that I was. So the undos have layers and layers on top of each other, and it's very complicated. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, to leave you with, I'll tell you the following. There's actually an added outside layer. So in Prismata, you can click a drone, you can undo the clicking of the drone, then I can Ctrl-Z to Ctrl-Z the undoing of the drone. And then I can go to a replay and play the moves in reverse. So I can actually go to a replay and play in reverse the Ctrl-Zing of the undoing of the drone. Yeah, hopefully that made sense. All right, I need to go get a life. All right, thanks for watching, guys.